Okay, hey guys, your art teacher here. Typically I do an instructional video where we're looking at the table, but I wanted my students to know how to make these crayon cakes, and so I told them that I would do a video. And since I need to move around the room and show you guys several different supplies, I'm going to have more of an upright video rather than a video facing the table. Okay, so these are what I call crayon cakes, and I'm not sure exactly when I named them crayon cakes, because I've been doing this for about 21 years, 22 years. Okay. I've lost track of time. But anyway, these right here, these are melted crayons, and I'm going to show you how I melt them with the paper on. Now, I have recently heard of a trick, okay, moms and dads or teachers, whoever is watching this video, I've recently heard of a trick that you can use. You can take crayons and you can put them in the freezer, and the paper will automatically just kind of slip right off. And I think what it does is it makes the crayons shrink just a little bit, and then the paper comes right off. Anyway, so that is a trick that you can use at home. I don't have access to a freezer here in my classroom, so I have not done that trick yet. What I do is I melt the crayons in the paper, and then when I'm finished, I take the paper out, and it actually makes this neat little crayon paper sculpture, and then the crayon has melted away on the inside. So I told my students that I would do this little instructional video. I have a whole bunch of orange crayons that I need to use up. This right here is a muffin tin that a friend of mine was going to throw away. And of course, being an art teacher, I'm like, hey, I could use that for something. And I knew specifically that I would use it for melted crayons, for the crayon cakes. Maybe I could call them crayon brownies, because they're like little brownies. Anyway, crayon muffins or crayon cupcakes. But anyway, so this one right here I ordered on Amazon, and it's silicone. And I thought that this would work great. One of them ripped. You can see that there's a little hole right there. One of them ripped, so I'm not real crazy about these right here. I do feel like just the good old-fashioned muffin pan works. So if you're a parent, you're watching this, the muffin pans, just these muffin pans right here, I don't know if you call that aluminum or what, but these work really, really well. This right here is this is a really old one. I don't even know how old this is. Probably don't even sell them anymore, but this was one that I got from a family member. Anyway, and this is another one that I use for these crayon cakes, as you can tell. Okay, so I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use this one right here. I'm going to show you what I do with my crayon cakes. So I just take them. I'm going to turn this way right here, and I just start filling up these with the broken crayon cakes. This would be a great job for a student who is finished early, or if it's a rainy day and you need something to do inside, moms and kiddos or dads and kiddos. So you just take and just break them in half. I prefer to use old ones that are already like kind of broken. Like this one right here is a really old crayon. I prefer to use the old ones versus the new ones, but I had a whole bunch that were donated from the years past, which is amazing. And I had some of my students help me. We sorted these by color, and this is what we ended up with. Some are new and some are old. This one's kind of old and raggedy looking, but it's still, I mean, look at how much crayon is still left in there. When these are melted, you cannot tell if they're new or old or whatever, so do not throw those old crayons away. If you need to throw crayons away or give them away, give them to Melissa Boone, Billy Stevenson, Elementary School in Rockwall, Texas, because we will take them. So you can organize these by lights or darks, however you want to do it. Anyway, then I said crayon has a melting temperature of, I believe it's like 160, 150. It's definitely lower than 200. I'll have to go back and research that information. But I'll fill these up, okay, just fill them up to where it just covers the surface. For time's sake, I'm not going to show you me doing that. But I'm going to fill these up as hot, just right up to level. And then I use my little toaster oven. This is an old toaster oven that I got from home. I'm going to set it to bake. This doesn't actually close in there. It's totally fine. The crayons melt. I set it to about 250, 300 if I'm standing right here watching it. Otherwise, it will get a little bit smoky. Okay, so parents or teachers, whoever's watching this video, that's basically how you're going to do it. When you pull this out, the crayon is going to be very liquid. You're going to get some like tongs, or I've even used pliers before, and you're gonna lift up the paper, and the paper is gonna be free from the melted crayon, and it might even melt out, and you just kind of shake it. You put the paper off to the side, just dig in there and make sure that there's no more paper. The paper comes out. You can make these little paper sculptures, little paper crayon sculptures, actually kind of cool. I just put them on cardboard, and whoop, we lost one. And anyway, it's a lot of fun, and you can do this at home. You can do it in your oven at home. I would set my oven to low temperature and kind of turn your vent on. They shouldn't burn, but if you do overheat them, it does get a little bit smoky. So the crayon cakes, let me give you one more little fact real quick before I say goodbye. One of the neat things with this, and I don't know if you can actually see it in the video, but one of the neat things with this is that the waxy part that doesn't have a lot of colorant in it, the waxy part of the crayon comes to the top, and the good, nice, rich colors, the pigment goes to the bottom, will sink down to the bottom, and the excess wax, like in the cheap crayons, will come to the top, and then the nice, good, typically Crayola, crayons will go to the bottom, and then all that extra wax that's just basically like fillers and crayons will go to the top. So if you get cheap crayons, sometimes crayons from like a restaurant, they don't really color very good, and it just seems like they're very different than the really good crayons. That's the reason why, because they have a lot of extra in it. But when you melt these, just the wax with not a lot of pigment will go to the top, and then the good crayon will go to the bottom. Anyway, I may do a follow-up video on that, and I know my students are just dying to say hi, so you guys say hi real quick. Hi! And I may have another video, so look for the other videos. And anyway, thanks for watching. This was a brief tutorial on making crayon cakes.